Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about anatomical position and anatomical terms, directional terms in the body. So the first thing to do is to stand in correct anatomical position, right? And Quinn and I have been practicing this, so we know that correct anatomical position is when your feet are about shoulder width apart and your hands are at your side, but the palms are facing forward. Okay, so this is important to remember that normally when you stand, your hands are like, stand just normally, are kind of like that, right? But in correct anatomical position, we have to sort of form this artificial way to stand in our head so that we know which is the front, the back, the top, the bottom, all the different parts of the body. So we're going to talk about some anatomical terms now. And my son Quinn is going to help me by being my model, and he's also going to be my student today. So the first two we're going to talk about are superior and inferior. Superior means towards the head. Inferior means towards the feet. So when we use anatomical terms, they're always relative, which means there always has to be the word to in there. So if I said Quinn's head is superior, we would have to say Quinn's head is superior to something. You can't just say it's superior. So Quinn's head could be superior to his chest. Quinn's head could be superior to his belly button, right? Now the opposite of superior is what? Do you remember?
Inferior.
Inferior. So if I said your chest is blank to your head, what would it be?
Inferior.
Yeah, so my chest is inferior to my head. Right, so superior and inferior basically means either closer to the head or further away from the head. So if you're in the middle of an operation and somebody says we need to extend the incision superiorly, which way is it going to mean? Is it going to be this way, is superiorly this way, or is superiorly that way?
Towards the head.
Towards the head, there you go. Okay, so superior, inferior. The next two words we need to talk about is medial and lateral. Medial means towards the middle of the body. So imagine there is a line going all the way through your body from top to bottom, right in the middle. That's the midline. So medial would be closer to the midline, and lateral is away, so further away from the midline. So what we're doing here is we're relating body parts to that midline. So if I was talking about the sternum, which runs right here, the sternum is going to be medial to the shoulders because it's closer to the midline. It's actually on the midline, right? Mm-hmm. What about your hips are blank to your belly button?
Lateral?
Yeah, hips are blank to the belly button. What about your ears are blank to your nose?
Lateral?
Lateral, that's right. What about your eyes are blank to your nose?
Lateral again?
Lateral again, there you go. Okay, so let's do a quick review. Your nose is blank. Go ahead and you can touch it. Nose is blank to your chin.
Superior.
Superior. Good job, Quinn. Okay, so we've got medial and lateral, and we have superior and inferior. Let's do one more medial and lateral. Let's look at your feet. So if I said, here's your big toe, and here's your pinky toe. Pinky toe is what to big toe?
Lateral.
Lateral, that's right, because this would be the midline and pinky toe's further away from it than big toe. Okay, so now we're going to talk about proximal and distal. Now, we use proximal and distal when we're talking about the appendages, so your arms and your legs. We don't use proximal and distal when we're talking about the trunk area or between the trunk and another area. And we don't use superior and inferior when we're talking about the appendages. We use proximal and distal. So distal sounds like distant, right? So that's the further away one. Proximal is closer to the point of attachment of the body. So your arms attach up here at your shoulders. Where do your legs attach?
Here.
Right there, like at your hips, right? So anything that's closer to that point of attachment is going to be proximal. Anything that's further away is going to be distal. So your hand is blank to your elbow. Your hand is what to your elbow?
Distal.
Distal because why?
It's further away from the point of attachment.
Oh, wow. Have you been studying? This is our second video, so Quinn's totally up on this now. Okay, how about your bicep is blank to your forearm?
Proximal.
Proximal, why?
Because it's closer to the point of attachment.
Okay, so now tell me the relationship between your knee and your foot.
My knee is proximal to my foot.
That's right, because the knee is closer to the point of attachment. Now tell me the relationship between your foot and your knee.
My foot is distal to my knee.
Perfect. Nice job, Quinn. Okay, yeah. So distal and proximal basically are talking about how far something is away from the point of attachment, and we really only use them on the arms and the legs. When we're talking about the trunk, we usually use superior and inferior. Okay, so next one is dorsal and ventral. So when you think about dorsal, what do you think of?
A dorsal fin.
Yeah, so do. So where do you think the dorsal region is?
Your back.
Yeah, and so what does that mean the ventral region is?
Closer to the back.
No, what's the ventral region?
Oh, it's closer to the front.
Yeah, so right here, right? Put your hand here. Belly side, that's right. So when we're talking about dorsal or ventral, we're talking about whether something's closer to the back of the body or something's closer to the front of the body. So right here in your chest is the sternum, and on the very back side of your body is going to be your vertebra, right? Your spinal cord is inside there. So the vertebral column is going to be what to the sternum?
Dorsal.
There you go, dorsal, yeah, because it's going to be closer to the back, right? Let's see, your face is what to the back of your head?
Ventral.
It's going to be ventral, yeah. Now, there's two other words that we use that mean almost the same thing in humans. So posterior means towards the back side, and anterior means towards the front side. So the anterior side of your leg would be which side of your leg?
The back side.
Wait. Posterior goes with dorsal. Anterior goes with ventral. So yeah, so your knee is going to be on the anterior side of your leg. And so we use those words kind of interchangeably for humans. It's not like that for animals though, because normally an animal, you want to get on all fours and be a dog? Are you still in the video here? Yes. Okay, so on a dog or a shark or any animal that sort of is in this position, you've got your dorsal and your ventral side. And then on an animal, this would be anterior, this way towards the front. And then Quinn's butt would be posterior. But on humans, because we walk upright, our belly side is actually the anterior side. Our ventral side is the anterior side. So you can kind of interchangeably use those words, although most of the time, like when we're learning, various muscle and ligaments, you're going to be using posterior and anterior. Okay, last one, deep and superficial. So deep means deep inside the body, and superficial means sort of towards the outside of the body. Oh, I think you're out of focus. Back up a little bit. There we go. Let me get you back in focus. Okay. So your skin is going to be what to your organs inside?
Superficial.
That's right. So your skin is superficial to your organs. What about your muscles? Your muscles are blank to your skin.
Deep.
Deep. What about your brain? Your brain is blank to your hair.
Deep again.
Deep again, that's right. So let's think of a superficial one. What would be good superficial? Your clothes are superficial to your skin, I guess. Although your clothes aren't really attached to you.
Your skin is superficial to your bones.
Hey, good one. Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. So those are the relative anatomical terms that we need to know about. And that's it for today. Thank you, Quinn.